Ad paid for by Marjan Philhour for Supervisor 2020. Financial disclosures are available at sfethics.org.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really honored to be a part of this, and I've loved getting to know you over the last several months. Some benefits of the pandemic, I guess, have been that I've slowed down and gotten to know more people in my community. So yeah, as you said, I'm a photographer. I'm a Black woman photographer who has a brick and mortar around the corner from the apartment that I rent. I'm on 3rd and Clement. I'm in the studio behind the Golden Hour Vintage. Morgan will be speaking later. And renters' rights is something I am crazy passionate about. 2 years ago when we were pregnant, we found out that our building was being sold for a second time. The first time we found out our building was being sold the first time was literally the day after we got home from our destination wedding. And when we found out it was being sold the second time, one of my neighbors realized that the landlord was trying to sell it as a not rent controlled building, even though it was, which panicked me because by the time the building sold, it would be around the time our son was gonna be born, and we would be out on our asses because they were trying to double and triple the rent for many of the people in the building, including us. And so I immediately started fighting because I refused to be, I just refused to have that be the option. So I reached out to some organizations, and eventually, long story short, we were able to get Meta, an amazing nonprofit in the Mission, to buy their second building in the Richmond district. And they were able to, the building is now protected for 99 years. Our apartment just got finished being redone because they're bringing the entire building up to code. They tested everything from the lead in the pipes to if there's asbestos in the walls. They make sure that everything is completely up to code so that families are safe. And they are doing an amazing job. I don't even remember how many buildings they own in the city now, but they're all protected for 99 years. Your rent is only ever 20% of your income. If you lose your job or if things go crazy for your life, you can reach out to them and they will readjust because they are humans keeping humans in homes and not, you know, investors who live overseas who don't really give a crap about who you are. And it's amazing. So I spent a year making that happen, and actually this weekend we are moving back into our brand new beautiful apartment that they have been working on. In the middle of COVID, they made it all work. So I just never want anybody else to feel the way that we felt in those first few weeks, and even throughout the entire process of trying to get our building purchased was hopelessness. You know, like, what are we gonna do? We can't afford, I don't wanna move across the city or out of San Francisco when my business is around the corner from my house. We didn't want to move while we had a newborn baby. And so many people are put in this position. And my husband and I are both born and raised in San Francisco. And it's wild that we could barely afford to live here. So anyways, there was a lot of really good information and feedback that we got. And, you know, during the pandemic, there has been some measures put in place to help keep people in their homes. But it's just, there's so much that has to be done to protect our renters in the Richmond and all over San Francisco. The community feedback was that the most prevalent prevalent issue among renters was the high cost of rent and homelessness due to job loss and tenants' rights. On average, renters spend 40% of their income and 80% on their rent, and 80% said they would move out of the city if rents continued to rise. And the high cost of rent has led individual families to have little hope that they can stay in the Richmond or become a homeowner. Solutions by respondents to address the cost of rentals and potential eviction include expanding rent control by repealing the Ellis Act and the Costa-Hawkins. The Ellis Act is a California state law that allows landlords to evict residential tenants out of the rental business. And the Costa-Hawkins sets limits on the kind of rent control policies cities are able to impose. The city should also continue to work with their state and federal representatives to pass legislation like AB 3088, the COVID-19 Tenant Protection Act of 2020. This law protects renters from eviction if they're unable to pay their rent due to COVID. And while renters will still have to pay back their rent starting next March, which is going to be really challenging for a lot of families, I know, they still can't be evicted, and there just has to be more that is put into place to protect people as things continue to do whatever it is they're going to do right now. Yay, 2020.